Hey everyone, Alex again, here to bring you episode 7 of the Guild Wars Corner. First thing I'd like to mention is that I beat the Factions campaign, finally, after about 8 years. Essentially, I had bought Factions right before it was released as a pre-order, and at that time, I had played Guild Wars Prophecies a lot, pretty much straight on for a good 8 or 9 months, constantly, almost every single day, and I was a burned out vegetable by that point. So essentially, we had waited a year, me and my friends, for Guild Wars Factions to come out, and when it did, it at first seemed to be like more the same for me. It was probably not too surprising, but by that point, I was looking to kind of move on, and at that same time, EVE Online issued a beautiful trailer, put it up on the forums, and I just got hooked. And so, jumped ship, went to EVE Online, and didn't look back for about 8 years until recently. So came back, and I'm like, I got some unfinished business. Factions and I have unfinished business. So this has been order number one since coming back to Guild Wars, was to finish up Factions, and it's been up and down. I think Factions is a good campaign. It's not as good as Prophecies, I think, in my opinion, basically. I think some of the mission structures are up and down as far as the difficulty curve. There's some missions that are pretty easy, but there's a couple, like Tanakai Temple, Eternal Grove, and a few others that are quite difficult. And so the difficulty of the curve is kind of all over the place with Factions. However, that does not mean it's bad. It's quite good, I think, actually. It's still a lot of fun. The story is mediocre, in my opinion. It's functional. It does its job. So, one thing I will praise Factions, though, is that the environments, a lot of the PvE environments out there that you can go through, it's quite a bit more detailed than you find in Prophecies. It's a more multi-layered. Yes, it's not as big as Prophecies, but I think it makes up for it with the quality and the multi-layering and the detail that you can see inside Factions, even though there's really only 4 large areas that you can explore, or 4 different types of environments, I should say. Kainak City, Xingje Island, the Jade Sea, and the Ekovald Forest. But there, you can tell they put the time into it, and it's been pretty rewarding to see that. And it's been a lot of fun. So I'm glad to kind of wrap this up. One thing that really kind of drove me to finish this was unlocking hard mode, because a lot of the Zaishin missions, especially recently, and Vanquish, that I want to do with my guildies require to go in Factions. Well, you can't get hard mode until you beat it. So finally beat it, and off we go. And now I can join my friends in trying to help them out with their Zaishin missions and Zaishin Vanquish or Bounty or wherever shows up inside Factions. So that's good. That'll help a lot. On to other news. The guild is still doing quite well, and recruiting still going on. We are now at around 12 to 13 members. All of them are active, which is one of the nice things about starting a new guild. You have a pretty good idea that if you see a name on the list, they've been around. So that is always nice to see. They're not completely gone. So we've been doing a lot of activity, and today, which is Saturday, we had a really great time this morning. We had done Zaishin Vanquish, we did some Guild GVG, and got another skirmish, and this time, instead of being like 1v2 or something like that, it was 3-on-3, which means our PvP population is growing, and there's a little more interest in it. And one thing we're trying to set up right now is a TS3 server. We use the public server this time, and we're trying to get people squared away in their settings with TS3 and making sure that they're comfortable using TeamSpeak. We're not quite there yet, but one of the great things that happened this morning was, while we were waiting around to get settings squared away, we were just chatting away on the guild channel inside TS3, and this time we're chatting verbally. We're not typing out, and that is such a great thing, because we were just sitting there BSing around, talking about Guild Wars, talking about Guild Wars 2, the game, and what we want to do with the guild, and that just takes the interaction of the guild to a whole new level, and a much higher level, I think. So that's where the camaraderie, the gel of the guild's really starting to take place, and I'm really glad to see that, starting to come together. So I'm going to keep recruiting. We're going to keep pushing here. I would like to kind of get a number around 20 to 25. I think that'd be a good number to ensure that there's kind of a constant stream of activity. So that means we're probably around halfway there at this point. And of course, if you're interested in the guild, even if we hit some arbitrary number, if you're really interested, we're going to bring you in. I mean, it's not going to be like a cutoff or something crazy like that. It just won't be as determined a push as it was when we first started. So we're going to keep pushing on that, and I'm going to keep giving updates for the guild and what we're doing and how we're progressing and how we're evolving into what we'd like to do, and kind of the mission, or the vision I should say, that I had laid out back in episode 4. You know, basically making a bridging guild, a learning guild, where people that have either left Guild Wars are coming back or starting Guild Wars for the new time, and they have a good attitude, they want to learn or they want to teach. You know, we want to make sure that there's a place for them, you know, when they come in here. So that's been a lot of fun, and seeing that coming together, because we've got some really experienced players that come in. I mean, we got some real PvE masters, we got some real PvP masters. We got a guy this morning from Germany, really nice guy, and he knows PvP inside and out. So we started pushing in that direction. And what I'm hoping is that we can really jump into things like alliance battles, GVG, the larger scale GVG, and even RA or Codex Arena, and get that going. Again, as I mentioned before, Codex is essentially crickets and a quarter inch of dust, but you never know. So it's been a lot of fun, and the key thing is that we're now doing it with people, and that makes the experience so much more enriching inside Guild Wars, and that's really what it's all about. So moving on, let's see. We also got a few other things going on right now, and one of the things that's going on right now is also not just developing the guild, but also how I want to develop the channel. So I got two things going on at the same time: developing the guild and developing the Guild Wars channel. And this is just starting up, still an experiment. But what I'm thinking of doing is presenting some special videos that go in depth into certain areas of Guild Wars. So either particular tactics, particular professions, particular missions, and taking a more in-depth view of it. Because while this is a nice vlog, you hear what we're doing, hear my observations of the Guild War, hear me whine, bitch, and moan about whatever. You know, I'm sure that's great, but I'm sure also people are looking for more meat in a particular topic that may be a little more technical and a little more applicable to Guild Wars and how they play Guild Wars. And that's been something that's been mentioned to me as well. From a few people that, you know, they love the videos and they like to see more of them, but hey, here's an idea, let's try this, or we'll try this. So there's a ton of things we can try inside Guild Wars. Let's take the group and go through a Zaishen Vanquish and just, you know, do a monologue on that, you know, kind of like a miniature Let's Play. Me personally, I'm not a fan of Let's Play, because frankly, watching someone play, and unless they're really good at improv, at ad-lib, I mean, they're actually a little entertaining to listen to, it's boring as hell. I'm sorry, you lose my interest really quickly. And if I'm going to watch someone play, I'd rather watch myself play. I'd rather be the one playing rather than watching someone else do it. So in this case, however, it won't be a straight-up Let's Play. It will be, you know, much more focused and looking at one particular thing, either a particular mission, how we do the build, how we go through it, and how we interact as a team. You know, that's one example. But another one I'm thinking of is, again, some videos going into depth on things that I'm very familiar with, things like the builds for Necromancer or Mesmer. But for these videos, it's not going to be a particular build or a particular way of doing things. I don't want to do that. What I want to do instead is give more of a higher level, broader view of the profession as a whole and its sub-professions. So let's take, for example, the Necromancer. Do a broader view video of, say, what the Necromancers can do, what they're capable of, what each of the 3 magical schools in necromancy are, you know, blood, curses, and death. What are the advantages of each? What's the disadvantages of each? How the skills can go together, and what things to watch out for, and how the class really changes the game. You know, really brings a lot of tools to bear into the game, and how to apply those tools. So again, it won't be one build. You have a list of skills, and what I want everyone to be able to take away from that isn't so much, okay, I need to go to this build, hit these buttons in this certain order, and get bacon. And hey, I won Guild Wars because I did this build. Well, that's great, but you don't really understand the build. You don't understand why it's effective, why those skills are put in that particular order, how they interact with each other. And what you should be able to do at the end of the day is be able to build any deck you want and be very effective with it, and know why you picked each skill that you did, how it applies to the situation, how to read the situation that you're going into, what your role inside the group is, and be very effective in that role. And that is the mark of a good Guild Wars player. It is not going to the forums, pulling out a build and say, hey, this is working. You can do that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but I want to have all my listeners or people that would like to learn Guild Wars take it up to that very next level, to learn on their own, to build a deck on their own, and really understand why that deck is effective rather than just pulling skills out. So that's some of the ideas I got going on right now, and I'm going to try and put these videos out in the near future. Unfortunately, I am going to be moving here in about a week, so I'll be busy with that. I'm going to try and get my first video out before that point, which will be sometime this week, or maybe even this weekend. We'll see how things go. It's kind of raining and dreary outside, so tonight might be a good time to actually start putting that video together. My first one that I have an idea with. And it's going to be a little more longer. It's going to be more advanced. It won't be just me showing some gameplay footage and having something nice in the background while you hear me blather on for a quarter of an hour for 15 or 20 minutes, as entertaining as that may be. But also, show and demonstrate what I'm talking about in the video. So again, I apologize. I've not been doing a whole lot of advanced editing recently. Again, that takes quite a bit more time. But for these kind of special videos, rather than just running a vlog, I'm going to actually be showing what I'm talking about. So you can take a lot more away from it, rather than me just speaking verbally about it. So that's some ideas I got going on right now. I'm really looking forward to sending out some of these videos. Again, I think the first video I'm going to do is going to be a very general one, talking about the skill bar itself and all the considerations you need to take into account when you build a skill bar. So if you're a new player to Guild Wars, I'm going to try and pass along some good information that a lot of people know just after a lot of experience of playing the game, and kind of give you that step, but to get you that next step a little bit further, so you can be a skilled Guild Wars player and know how to build that deck, that 8-skill deck, in a way that's going to be effective and doesn't get you into trouble or be ineffective. So anyways, I will talk to you guys soon. Again, I'm going to try and shoot for these vlogs on Sunday and Wednesday. I'll give updates to the guild, I'll give updates what we're doing, general observations, but also we'll try and get some of these specialized videos out. They'll be a little bit more in depth, will be quite a bit longer, and hopefully informative, and rather than just not just entertaining, but informative as well. So thanks a lot, guys, and I'll talk to you soon, and have fun out there.